Welcome back. Fox 5's On the Hill this morning. We want to turn now to the District of Columbia. This is one of those instances where Congress and the local D.C. government converged this week. The National Guard troops, are they going to be moving out of the district this week? A federal judge ordered the Trump administration to end that troop deployment. The 2,000 troops have been in D.C. for nearly 3 months now when President Trump declared that crime emergency. Plus, crime in D.C. was the focus of a House vote this week in Congress. Lawmakers there passed crime bills that eliminates D.C.'s cashless bail system and made changes to police oversight. Some lawmakers spoke out this week.
President Trump is obsessed with trying to run Washington, D.C. And if President Trump wants to run Washington, D.C., he should resign as president and run for mayor.
The left-wing politicians who say that D.C. does not have a crime problem are either delusional or simply lying to the American people.
Now, D.C. leaders say this bill will have a negative impact on crime. Joining us live this morning, Phil Mendelson. He is the chairman of the D.C. Council. Chairman, thanks for being with us this morning. You spoke out very strongly in opposition to these bills. Let's take them one at a time, though. The cashless bail system. Right now, there is a system where the judge can decide if a person in front of them is a flight risk or not, or whether they're dangerous and need to be locked up. The majority of the people are allowed to leave and return at a later date for a court system. About roughly a 40%, we're told, are kept behind bars. Why is this a bad idea in your view?
Well, first of all, cash is not a predictor of safety. And so this idea of cash bail, that puts the ability to pay above public safety interests. The reality is that our system, which is modeled on the federal Bail Reform Act, is safer than what we see in other jurisdictions. It's not just simply the judge sits back and says, oh, gosh, you know, is it okay to release him? There actually is a presumption for the most serious offenses that the person will be held pretrial. That's a presumption. And there also has to be a determination after a careful evaluation with Pretrial Services Agency and the prosecutor saying we want the person held, that the person is not a danger to the community and not a risk of flight. There's
a logistical question surrounding all of this as well, too, because we've recently had discussions about the District of Columbia needing a new jail. Is there the physical capacity to hold on to every person if they do not have a system where a bail is determined whether or not they can be released or not? Well,
that could be an issue. We've seen that in other jurisdictions and cities where there is overcrowding at the jail. We are within capacity right now. We actually manage the jail pretty well. But again, it shouldn't be that, oh gosh, a person can pay and therefore they're not a danger to the community. No. And as I said, the numbers bear out that we actually have less reoffending for folks who are out pending trial than in other jurisdictions, because there really is a due process, strong determination with both sides arguing before the judge whether the person is a risk of flight or a danger to the community.
Talk to me about these police reforms. A lot of them went in after the George Floyd protests.
Yes.
The police union supports this move by House Republicans. They deal with things like rules on body cameras, accountability, pursuit, also accountability for officers. Why do you think it's a bad idea to let, as the House Republicans are saying, let police do their policing?
Well, in fact, the chief supports supports the law that we have in the district, and the chief and the mayor and the attorney general, as well as the council, don't support this repeal. It's about police accountability. Police accountability in ways such as who gets to decide the disciplinary process. So the DC Auditor, independent, a few years ago put out a report. 37 police officers who were fired by the chief had to be rehired under the disciplinary process, not the chief's disciplinary process, but the process that had been bargained by the FOP. The FOP hates this accountability law. I don't get it, because I think good cops are good for policing, but somehow the FOP time and again wants to defend these bad cops and doesn't like this accountability.
One of the arguments House Republicans have been using is that these reforms set up a situation where in 2023 the District of Columbia saw this crime spike, a crime spike which was now dissipated, but yet congressional Republicans are using as a launching point for a lot of these bills that you don't like.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because we've had this police accountability law since 2020. And while crime did go up in 2023, crime was down last year. Violent crime was down about 35%, and this year it's down another 28% under the same police accountability law. Now, the Republicans do trash the accountability bill for some restrictions that, in fact, we changed. And what I mean by that is, for instance, we had adopted in 2020 some restraints on vehicular pursuit, but we changed those last year. The Republicans are still citing the previous law.
He is Phil Mendelson. He is the chairman of the District of Columbia Council, and we appreciate you joining us. Chairman's going to be with us over on Fox Local coming up at 9 a.m. This morning. We'll see you in just a bit. When we continue here on Fox 5's On the Hill, she has been in the Senate for nearly 10 months now. We're going to talk live with Democratic Senator from Maryland, Angela Alsobrooks, in studio. Fox 5's On the Hill continues right after this.